Good evening, and welcome to Dan Bain's Sleepy Time Mumbles, a podcast you can miss. I'm Dan Bain, and every episode I improvise a low-stakes podcast for you to fall asleep to. Two quick things before we begin this evening, and I'll try to keep them quick, as I always find in shows that I listen to that interminable admin is both interminable and very skippable. But allow me to oblige two things upon you. One, if you are in or adjacent to Christchurch, New Zealand, on the 24th of this month, May 2025, I'm going to perform all three of my stand-up comedy specials live and back-to-back for the purposes of recording at Little Andromeda Fringe Theatre. What does that mean? It means that at 7 o'clock I will perform Would You Like Me More If I Was Less Like Me. It means that at 8:30 I will perform Anxiety Knife, and it means at 10 o'clock I will finish up with Variations on the Same Joke. 3 original, unique, bespoke hours of stand-up comedy in one night. Is this a terrible idea? I guess that's part of the fun of coming along to it. If you can't make it along due to not being even in this country, let alone this city, I understand. And let me tell you, it's not all loss for you as well. I will be releasing all three of them on the YouTube, and I would like you to subscribe to my newsletter so that you find out about that and get early access. Links in the show notes. This is probably, I think, the biggest self-produced project that I have ever attempted. So, your support in whatever way you are able to offer it, greatly appreciated. Okay. Thing number 2, I'm going to talk about that in the next episode, because, as I said, too much admin is too much admin. And I've already talked about buying tickets and subscribing to YouTube's and monthly newsletters. But all that can wait. For now, Put down your phone. Turn off your screens. Close your eyes. Now it's time to be mumbled to sleep. Season 6, Episode 7. Have you dined with us before? Good evening, everybody. How are we all going this evening? That's so wonderful to hear. My name is Dan. I will be your server for the evening. And before we go any further, if it's okay, I'd like to just ask, have any of you dined with us before? No? Okay. So, we have a sharing plate menu. So what that means is if you just order one thing each, you probably will be sad. But my recommendation, maybe one or two things each, and you're just gonna each kind of negotiate amongst yourselves who gets to eat the most and the choicest pieces from each dish. Now you're probably wondering, does the chef make sure that the dishes are easy to distribute between? No, absolutely not. That is the furthest from the mind of the artiste. He has no interest in that. So I recommend you get maybe 2-3 plates each, plus some sides. You're going to want some sides. You're going to want sides for the table. It's a tapas fusion. Small plate tasting degustation experience that we have here. What is the style of food? Great question. Alright. So it is we would say pescatarian Cajun fusion with notes of traditional Korean. So think spiced fish, think pickled, think kimchi, think noodles, think rice. I think noodles and rice and kimchi and smoke. Also pickles. There'll be pickles. Just think small plates. Can I take anyone's drink orders? Good evening, everyone. My name is Dan. I'll be your server this evening, and in a moment I'll take some drink orders. But first of all, quick query. Have any of you dined with us before? Okay, so here at King Crab's Crab Emporium, here's how we kind of run it. Basically, you will look at the menu. That is a piece of laminated paper that each of you have in front of you. You'll see it's double-sided. There are multiple options. So the first thing you will do is, if you wish, you'll order what is called a starter, unless you're not from the United States of America, in which case it will be called an entree. And that is what will be, and then we'll take the order for that back to the kitchen, and the chef and their team of line cooks, sous chefs, they'll prepare that, and then I or one of my team will bring that out, and you'll be able to eat it. And you'll eat that first, which is why it is called, as mentioned, a starter, or if you understand, tu comprends le français, c'est un entrée, oui. It's an entree first. Okay, and then, and we'll do this right now, so you will need to know, I guess you're going to have to make a decision now. Obviously, it's very easy to order the entree, the starter, because that is the next thing. That's the next thing that you are going to eat. So very easy to be like, what would I like in my life to eat next? But the difficult thing, and here's where it gets a little tricky, is that then, let me go back a step. I feel I've missed something critical. If you haven't eaten with us before, this might be important to know. The starter is this is a small dish. It's not a big dish. It's just a little something to kind of, just get you in the mood for your dinner. So unless you're very petite or not particularly hungry, this isn't really a meal. This is just a little something at the top to get you in the mood for eating what is the next phase of what you will order. And okay, now we're back to where I was before I wasn't. So here is the difficult part about that a lot of people trip up on when they come here and order for the first time, is that you are going to need to anticipate. You're going to need to know. You're going to need to be able to kind of project into the future and envision what you would like to eat in about 30 to 45 minutes. So the entree will come out quite quickly and you'll eat that. But as I said, it's quite small. But then a follow-up dish, which is substantial. This is going to be the main part of your experience, so it's important that you all take this quite seriously. That's going to come out, but it's a while away. And in between now, where we're all at, and you having that main dish, mains, or weirdly the entree, if you are based in America. I don't quite understand why, but nonetheless, that's fine. If you like, there's a possibility for uncertainty here, is what I'm saying, because there's a small dish. Between now and then, you're going to eat another small dish, and what I want you to make sure is that what you choose for that small dish isn't going to interrupt or ruin your experience of the larger dish. So just have a think about that, because you're making this is a decision that you will be living with. You're going to live with this decision for the rest of the evening. And I don't want... Well, I'm not ready to take the blame if you make the wrong choice. While you're thinking about that, can I take any drink orders? Good evening and welcome to Solar Plexus's Soda Deliciousness, a restaurant for futurists. My name is Dan. I will be your server for the evening. Before I take your orders, I just have a quick question. Have any of you dined with us before? Okay, so here at the restaurant, we have a compulsory, you must order 7 dishes. No more, no less. Now I see there are 4 in your party. That's a good number to come along with So you can do the 7 dishes. If you don't want 7 dishes, you have to leave. So I just need to tell you that now. Now you're probably wondering, we only want 6 dishes. Can we just order 7 dishes and not eat one? No. You don't need to finish every dish, but if you don't, the chef will come out and he will make a judgment as to whether or not you made a valid attempt. Okay? And if he decides that what is a valid attempt? Great question. I guess a valid attempt is that you've eaten approximately 2/3 of every dish. Anything less than that, and it feels like it's not about, oh, I wasn't so hungry, and it feels more like an insult to the chef. So anyway, they'll come out, they will assess whether you've made a valid attempt or not. If you haven't made a valid attempt, then you will go into the holding zone. Now in the holding zone, you'll be asked to kind of rank your dishes from best to worst. If you get those right, you'll be allowed to leave. If you get them wrong, you'll progress in it. But don't worry about that now. It's very rare that people get that wrong. It has happened though. It has happened. It has happened. Yeah. Could I get anyone any drink orders to begin with? Good evening, and welcome to Old Man Sebastian's Ribs and Corn. My name is Dan. I'll be your server for this evening. And in a moment I'll take some drink orders, so I hope you've all had a chance to look at the drinks menu. But before I do that, I just have a quick question. Have any of you dined with us before? Okay. Well, I will just, in that case, I'll just take a second to explain how it works here. Don't want to be condescending, but you'd be surprised at how many people get confused by, I guess, what the offering is here. So, as I said, we do have a full drinks menu, huge world of options. But when it comes to the dinner menu, there are 2 options, and that is ribs and corn. So basically what you're going to be doing this evening is less of a selection and more of a decision around quantity. So how many ribs do you want versus, or complementary to, how much corn do you want to eat? Now I understand some of us are vegetarians, so in that case the question will be, how much corn do you want to eat versus how much ribs? I'm guessing corn will be higher than ribs in that situation. So those are the two options for the evening. Corn, ribs. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take your drink orders. I'm going to head on over there. Give you a little time to think about it. And then I'll pop on back and we can decide who's getting what. Okay. But first up, who's got a drink order? Season 6, Episode 7. Have you dined with us before? Good evening, everybody. How are we all going this evening? That's so wonderful to hear. My name is Dan. I will be your server for the evening. And before we go any further, if it's okay, I'd like to just ask, have any of you dined with us before? No? Okay. So, we have a sharing plate menu. So what that means is, if you just order one thing each, you probably will be sad. But my recommendation, maybe one or two things each, and you're just gonna each kind of negotiate amongst yourselves who gets to eat the most and the choicest pieces from each dish. Now you're probably wondering, does the chef make sure that the dishes are easy to distribute between? No, absolutely not. That is the furthest from the mind of the artiste. He has no interest in that. So I recommend you get maybe 2-3 plates each, plus some sides. You're going to want some sides. You're going to want sides for the table. It's a tapas fusion. Small plate, tasting, degustation experience. that we have here. What is the style of food? Great question. Alright. So, it is we would say pescatarian, Cajun fusion with notes of traditional Korean. So think spiced fish, think pickled, think kimchi, think noodles, think rice, think noodles and rice, and kimchi, and smoke. Also pickles. There'll be pickles. Just think small plates. Can I take anyone's drink orders? That was season 6, episode 7. Have you dined with us before? Sleepy Time Mumbles is a podcast that is produced by New Stock Octopus Theatre, etc. It is invented and presented by me, Dan Bain, here in Otatahi, Christchurch, New Zealand. There are many ways to follow the show on the internet, and I would love it if you did them all. They're in the show notes. But until next time, good night and sleep tight.